What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast, episode 67 of the College Loop Podcast. And just in case my internet goes out, just again, what's up, everybody? I'm Dylan Larck at you boy the tank on Twitter. Tarr and Daniel are not with me today. Tarr is at an Ed Sheeran concert, and Daniel is chilling out watching his Boston Celtics play the Miami Heat tonight. But yeah, I'm just going to get right into the football conversation, talking about a list that got released by CBS ranking all SEC coaches. And I feel like this is worth the conversation because Hugh Freeze was ranked 8th on this list. And I can agree with the coaches. He was ranked above to a certain extent. Starting at 14, just going to go from 14 to up. 14 to 1. Or, yeah, 14 to 1. Makes the most sense, I guess. So at 14, you have Mississippi State's head coach / defensive coordinator from last year, Zach Arnett. Then Clark Lee from Vanderbilt, Eli Drinkwitz from Missouri, Billy Napier from Florida, Sam Pittman at 10 from Arkansas, Shane Beamer at South Carolina at 9. Then you got Hugh Freeze, and then all the coaches above him, Jimbo Fisher at 7, Mark Stoops at 6, Josh Heupel at 5, Lane Kiffin at 4, Brian Kelly at 3, Kirby Smart at 2, and of course Nick Saban at the 1 spot. Yeah, I don't know how much of this list I agree with. I would definitely put Hugh Freeze above Jimbo Fisher, and the Mark Stoops I can kind of see where it'd be kind of hard because Mark Stoops has had some success while at Kentucky, but I've seen what I guess it's just me looking back at the past more often than not. I've seen what Hugh Freeze can do with an SEC team, and I've seen what he has done thus far with Auburn. I don't know if I can look at what Jimbo Fisher has done at Texas A&M and count that as a more of a success than what Hugh Freeze has done as a head coach. And I also had the national championship in 2013. Jimbo Fisher hasn't really accomplished much more than Hugh Freeze has. Hugh Freeze has beaten Alabama more than Jimbo Fisher has, at least in Florida State and Texas A&M. I haven't gone that far back to go see that actual record, but I mean, I do believe Jimbo Fisher's only beaten Nick Saban once, but Hugh Freeze beat him twice. And with the retention that Hugh Freeze has mustered while in his short time at Auburn, I would definitely put Hugh Freeze above Jimbo Fisher. And Mark Stoops is a bit of a closer conversation to have, and I can make an argument for a lot of these guys. Lane Kiffin's another one where I'm a little taken aback by why he's at 4. I think Heupel should have been the 4th spot, and then I think Hugh Freeze definitely has an argument over 4, 6, and 7 at the very least. Right. As we speak right now, things can definitely change as the season goes along. But yeah, I just want to talk about how Hugh Freeze is being underrated as Auburn's head coach. I mean, we talk about it in length every time a transfer comes through or a new ranking comes out, which we'll talk about a ranking in a second from Bill Connolly. Yeah, I look at it from that as Auburn has had one of the best off seasons in a long time, and Hugh Freeze is not just a run of the mill like new kid on the block coach. He's been here before. He's been in the SEC before, and I look at that and I look at this list and I'm a little confused as to why Jimbo Fisher's above Hugh Freeze right now. I don't know what the stance is on these rankings. I don't know what exactly goes into these rankings. I just know it's just someone who just made a list that I'm acting to for your enjoyment for the most part. But looking at it like that, I can understand why Hugh Freeze is at 8. And he was at Liberty for a few years. He had been in the SEC since 2016. So you're a little more hesitant. But looking at how Shane Beamer finished out the season in South Carolina, can you make an argument for him to be that high too? He beat Tennessee. He beat Clemson. You can make an argument for a lot of these guys. You put Hugh Freeze at 8. I think ultimately it comes down to success in the transfer portal and recruiting as a standard out, because you can't just rank guys just to rank them. And I mean, if you're counting new coaches, you have Zach Arnett at 14. And if Hugh Freeze is going to count as a new coach, you got to put him down there too, I guess. But if you're going to take this seriously, you look at the recruiting trails, what he's done in the transfer portal, what he's done in the high school recruiting. Hugh Freeze is a better coach right now than Jimbo Fisher is, based on the paper that we've been reading. Not things have drastically changed by come the season at the very least. But yeah, I mean, that's my last time to say. I just think that he should be above Jimbo Fisher. But my next thing, Bill Connolly released his SP rankings, and let's see, SP Plus rankings. Excuse me. And if you don't know what the SP rankings are, SP Plus rankings, whatever they're called, they're basically a list that Bill Connolly uses to rank teams before the season. And he uses three things to really balance out and rank these teams. He uses returning production, recent recruiting, and their recent history. And if you look at the teams that are ranked, Auburn is behind, I believe, 6 teams in the SEC. Of course, you got Georgia at 1, Alabama at 4, LSU at 5, Tennessee at 6, A&M at 16. Oh, that's way more than 6. Ole Miss at 18, Florida at 21, Kentucky at 22, Mississippi State at 25, Arkansas at 26. And then Auburn is chilling as the 11th ranked. Yeah, I was way off on that. 11th ranked SEC team per this ranking at 27. And again, I just look at it. If you look at recent history, I guess probably brings Auburn down a lot. Recent recruiting definitely has them up in that rankings. And returning production, I feel like Auburn has some of the highest from where they are just because of the transfer portal. Maybe not more than like Arkansas or some other teams, I guess, but definitely more than Kentucky. And that's me looking at stats. If you want to go check it out for yourself, it's on ESPN Plus. It's Bill Connolly's ranking all 133 players on his SP Plus rankings. But yeah, I think that is probably going to be the more defining thing for how for what it is right now, what the closest preseason rankings could be. Auburn at 27 seems feasible to me. Looking at it like that, I don't know if I fully am with it being the 11th ranked SEC team, because that sounds like it's a far ways down from what I think this Auburn team could be this year, and for ultimately what I think they are right now. And again, that's just me sunshine pumping a little bit. You know, Tarr does it for basketball. I do it for football all the time. Yeah, I think Auburn, this is probably where they're going to be ranked around this time because, excuse me, last season Auburn beat Mercer and Bama State and then got ranked to play Penn State. And I think they gave Auburn too much leeway getting them ranked to, I think, 25 last season. I think that was the highest they got ranked. If they even got ranked. It's a question for another time. I think Auburn is right there on the verge of right outside their top 25. And I think that it'll take, I would assume, with the 2 games at the start of the season, being UMass and Samford, I think. That's off the dome, I believe. And then going to, I think winning at Cal is probably when Auburn's going to see themselves in the top 25, just because that's going to be for SEC play, get everyone hyped up for the A&M game and the Georgia game and everything down the line. I do see Auburn being ranked in the top 25 by week 3, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I definitely think you should probably take its first 2 wins with a grain of salt, unless they're playing, I don't know, like with Georgia playing Oregon last year, or if Auburn was playing an actual P5 opponent. Yeah, I see it like that. These rankings, I guess they don't really mean anything, but I mean, being ranked in the top 20, top 30 before the season even starts and before your team has even proven themselves, I think it really desperately shows what Hugh Freeze has exactly done. I mean, that goes back to my last statement. Just the team, this team was nowhere near a top 25 team last season. It was nowhere near a top 50 team last season. And it's arguable they were in the top 75 team last season. And you go into this season, And there's a sense of hope. And that seems to be the case with every Auburn team from any year, really, is every year starts with hope. And this year, I feel like it has a little bit more than usual. And it's weird because you don't want to trust it. It's a false sense of hope that you want to have, but you also think that there's definitely a assurance of hope. Auburn's return production doing what it does. Auburn's recent history probably tanked them a lot in this rankings. And again, this is not like an official ESPN ranking. This is not the AP poll. This is just a guy using his own science reasons, his recent history, recent recruiting, and returning production to get exactly and ranking all 133 teams. And sorry, my throat's a little dry. I am outside. This is the first ever College Loop episode recorded outside. Believe it or not. Excuse me. If you want to fact check me, just go watch all of our videos and let me know if any of them recorded outside before this one. And I'm going to address that. This was for my cousin who graduated high school, and I guess it can go to anyone else who has just graduated from college, high school, kindergarten, preschool, all of the above. Congratulations to all grads. Just going to go ahead and put that put the word out there that y'all are back up. To move on to the hardwood. Good Lord, I'm coughing up a storm. Only thing I really have for basketball news is the fact that the last day to enter to officially keep your name in the portal for the NBA draft and kind of hold yourself back from turning to college is on the 31st, which would be 3 days from now. It'd be Tuesday, so we'd have an episode up for that, talking about hopefully if Johni, Broome, Jaylin Williams, and hopefully Julian Phillips have taken their name out of the NBA draft portal. And for all extents and purposes, we think they are. There's not really a science to that. There's more of we think. We're not hearing anything else really. Johni Broome had that very mysterious tweet that said decisions. Words are hard. Oh my Lord. Jay Will hasn't really said anything. We can all just assume that they're going to be back just because we looked at mock drafts all over the place and we're not seeing their names anywhere. So it's safe to assume they're going to be back, and they need to be. Auburn didn't really pick up any big boys to play that 5 position next season. So Johni Broome's going to be right back where he was. Julian Phillips make this team a instant SEC contention team, and Jay Will round out this team a lot. And I mean, yeah, those 3 right there. I mean, Julian Phillips is not a assured thing, an assured. There we go. Pickup from the portal, but I would say Auburn should be a favorite, at least the top 3 at the most, at the lowest. Because ultimately, that is where he did want to come to Auburn until he flipped to Tennessee. And yeah, we have 3 days left until those guys can announce that they're either returning to college or staying in the NBA draft, and ultimately they'll probably all go to the G League for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years of their career. And hopefully they get picked up. I think of the 3, Julian Phillips will probably get picked very late is what I've been saying. Johni Broome could end up getting picked, but Jay Will I've not really seen anywhere, which sucks. I think he's been one of the more consistent players on this Auburn team, especially last season. But yeah, that's all I have for the men's basketball segment. Just waiting around. It's been a very dead week. Very, very dead, especially in the last few days since our last recording. Just to go straight to baseball is where I want to wrap up the show today. Just talking about Auburn losing an SEC tournament. You lost to Vanderbilt and then you lost to Bama. And you pretty much saw, that's a giant moth over there in this perks of recording outside. The Vanderbilt game, yeah, I couldn't get back up. Same thing the Bama game. Bama pretty much has Auburn's number and from the pitching. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by that giant moth. Yeah, it's the pitcher that I'm forgetting. His name's Garrett McMillan from Alabama. The games he did play, he really held Auburn's bats from getting anything. and he only allowed one hit, no walks through 5 innings. When they played in April, and 6 innings, he let up 3 runs. But Auburn just couldn't get enough to win, and yeah, it sucks. Auburn could be Alabama in the tournament. Yeah, they couldn't just get it. They just one win away from. They just had to beat Vanderbilt and move on. But gotta be honest, this Auburn team was hot. Probably still very hot. They ran into some teams that could beat them, which happens. And this is an Auburn team that we weren't very high on at a couple months ago, really, not a couple weeks ago. So this Auburn team is now going into today, as this is coming out, where they have a chance to host a regional still. And gotta be honest with y'all, I think Auburn is definitely gonna be hosting a regional. And from all the things I've seen, predictions I've seen everywhere, I've been reading everywhere. You can see that moth right up there. You can see it. It flew out. I saw it on the screen. It's gonna be, if you're listening, it's gonna sound like I'm crazy. You have to go watch it at the 17-minute mark. But yeah, from all purposes that I've heard, read, try to keep up with, it sounds like Auburn's hosting a regional this year. And it really sounds like Auburn. I think it's back-to-back years where Auburn's hosted. It speaks volumes what Bush Thompson has done to this team, and I say it every time. I need Bush Thompson in my ear every day, because whatever he's telling the Auburn team, everyone needs to hear. Because honestly, some of the stuff that comes down to why Auburn lost in the tournament, it probably was exhaustion. You're playing 3 days straight, 4 days straight. It gets to you a little bit, and you get a break. You wait till Sunday, and I'm not sure exactly what time it is. I looked it up. I think sometime in the afternoon. Auburn gets a chance to bring the regionals to the Plains with a potential, I say potential, less likely chance, but there's a slight chance if things were to go their way, hosting a super regional too, but mostly hosting a regional. And from the teams I've seen, I've seen Stanford around there, I've seen North Carolina around there sometimes. Some big teams that Auburn could really ruffle some feathers, make some ripples in the water if they can get it done. And this Auburn team could just get hot again. I say hot again, like they've just like gotten cold. If they can get back to how they were a couple weeks ago, this team is fine. This team is back in Omaha. That's what's going to happen. Tommy Vale is still, if he can get over the yips that he had whenever he went on, he'll be fine. It'll be fine. The bats are always there. If they can just keep doing what they were doing, I'm going to say it, because I got to say it. Sell your soul for a Friday night win, and every night is Friday night. And if you can get that, Auburn will be in Omaha yet again. And this season went from a monstrous failure. I say that Auburn's predicted to finish 6th in the SEC West. The season goes from I don't even know how to describe that, a disappointment to a massive success. And again, that speaks just volumes to what Bush Thompson has done just in general this season, every season, to the Auburn baseball program. And good Lord, it has been a fun ride, and it is still going on, because guess what? I'm going to be honest with y'all. There ain't nothing that is keeping me from going to a regional. And we'll be there, outfield, drink set up, chairs sitting down, watching the Auburn Tigers in their regional that they should be hosting. And if they don't host, this is going to come out like a really, really bad, freezing cold take. But for all purposes that I've been aware of, Auburn should be hosting a regional. But yeah, that's all for me today. I'm Dylan Larck, able to think on Twitter. If you want to follow us or listen to us, if you want to listen to us especially, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. And if you want to catch us up on social media, you got us on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. No MySpace. Remember, 1,000 subs, and we'll get MySpace. 300 subs, which we're getting there steadily. Daniel has to do a TikTok dance where that should be real fun to witness. And he has some stiff competition about who's going to have the better one. You have Tarr's, where it was just a joke about him being a Steelers fan. Me, where the audio desynced, and now we're going to see what's going to go wrong with Daniel's. So, yeah, and of course, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Looking for some more questions from y'all. We really love when y'all ask us questions so we can, have a lot of conversation about stuff, and it's going to really help during the off-season times whenever all the sports are really off. And it would be a big help for us if y'all just ask some questions. We love answering those questions. We love it. We love those questions. So just like, comment, and subscribe. And with all that being said, it's been the College Loop Podcast.